Well, the sun is shining down here on centre court. You can hear the lawnmowers in the background, and I'm with one of the men who's responsible for making sure these courts remain immaculate throughout all the championship. Neil Stubley. Neil, thanks for joining us and interrupting your schedule. How tough a job is this?
Well, to be honest, we've got a really fantastic team. So I wouldn't say it's easy, but because we've got such a good team, it actually is quite a pleasure working here.
You've been here since 1995. How many championships did it take for you to feel comfortable that when it rolled around the next time you thought, OK, we've got this under control?
I'd say, well, my first one here, I was a college student, so I got a full-time job here afterwards, after my placement. So after about 2 or 3 years, it felt comfortable, and a lot of the guys that work here have been here for so long. So, one of the other guys is, I think this year it's his 43rd championship. So. And then we've got 10s and we've got 25, so everybody's got a lot of experience, so everybody's always relying on each other. So it's just a pleasure being here.
Jeff, I'm sure you can get a shot of the guy mowing the lawn. How many times a day, or how many times throughout the championship, is each court mown? Every single day? Every
single day the courts will be cut, and they'll also be marked out. And they're always cut in a certain way, so when we start the season off and we mark the courts out, this end that we're at is the southern end. When they start mowing, they'll always start the left side of the centre, and then they do the same shades on all the different courts. So when you look from the air, all the lines go in the same direction.
Wow! And obviously, your millimetres is 8. You have to be at 8 every day. Does the grass actually grow that quickly that you have to mow it every day?
Yes. By the end of Rick, who's cutting centre court now, by the time he's cut the court, there'll actually be a whole box of grass in there. So it's actually grown about 1 millimetre during the 24 hours.
Wow, I did some research last week, and when we were in the era of massive servers, you guys did some research and said to the players, OK, what do you need? Because there was a concern that rallies would disappear from the great grass game, and they said we need a little bit of extra millimetres. So does that 1 or 2 extra millimetres really make that much difference?
It can do. I mean, obviously the shorter the grass becomes, when you start taking off, if you've got 8 millimetres, if you then take off only 1 millimetre, that's nearly, that's over 1/10 or nearly 1/10 of the whole size of the plant. So if you're taking that much off, it will make a difference.
And what do you need to do, and how do you repair the scuff marks? Because we see these dramatic lunges as players go for balls whistling past them at 100 plus miles an hour. We can see a few marks there. How do you repair those on a daily basis?
We just sort of assess them each day. We'll water the courts each night, and what happens with that, it just refreshes them. It's almost like us having a nice cold drink at the end of play. It just refreshes it again, and by the morning they start to recover. The areas that will actually get worn, we can't do anything about, because the players are actually kicking the actual plant out with their feet. But you'll tend to find a few weeks after the championships, a lot of the areas that look worn will actually come back, because it's only the actual leaf that they've kicked off, not the actual plant.
Does it get more difficult as the championship goes on, or is your daily routine so set in motion that actually each day is exactly the same?
Yes, it is. It's everybody's got certain jobs that they need to do once they come in the morning, and it's like a military fashion up until certain times of the day. But we are obviously governed by the weather, and if it's wet, then we've got a wet weather program. If it's hot, we have the same program there. In an ideal world, we'll have a dry championships that's 22, 23 degrees every day. It's not too hot, so the grass doesn't stress out, and hopefully by men's finals weekend, the grass is still looking in a good, healthy condition.
What problems arise if we do have 2 or 3 days of really heavy intermittent rain?
For us, it's fine. I mean, now that we've got the roof on, the roof was designed that we can have it on continuously for 72 hours. The one good thing that we do have here is that we've still got the traditional cover that we had originally. So even at the end of play, and the roof's been on all day, we can then put our cover on, take the roof off, and then the air can still get underneath the cover. So we can actually the plant can still just have a normal night's sleep like we all would have.
It's quite a science, isn't it? I mean, you're talking about it quite passionately and in some detail. It's not as simple as mowing the grass and making it look nice.
No, that's the easy part. Our work really starts after the championships, and then we will then spend 8 months preparing the courts. We shave off all the grass on all the courts, and we start from fresh every single year.
One thing that people may not realise is that these guys are really keen on liaison with the players. Every single player, if I'm right, when they come off court has an opportunity to say what they'd like done differently, and in 8 years there hasn't been a single complaint here, has there? That's quite extraordinary.
Yes, no. I mean, they always say if they're not complaining, then you must be doing the good job. So long may that continue.